Hi, everyone. Just wanted to test before we start. If you hear me fine, you see me all good, please let me know. We can chat. Um, Thanks for your attendance. Let me adjust the camera if you don't mind for a minute, and then we start that right on time. Yeah, I think this is better. Probably, yeah. Okay. Let me double check if this is okay. Yeah. Thanks for your attendance. This is Ali Salarian, broker of record, REMAX Success Realty, and today I'm going to talk about a news was break out yesterday. Talks about an acquisition by the Real brokerage, and uh, REMAX Holding or REMAX LLC, which is the parent company or the company, the franchise of REMAX Success Realty and all franchisees. And it's based in Denver, Colorado, in US. So many have questions here, and a lot of rumors was before that, and even with the when the news break out yesterday, many could not read it properly. I'm talking about many, whether they are the public or the members of REMAX or the industry licensed agents, or some broker owners as well. Unfortunately, I'm going to talk today as a former corporate banker and put my experience and analysis into that. And I have some questions here I can relate to. Meanwhile, if there is any question, I'm happy to read them out. So, and I'm going to start with the questions right away. After a little bit introduction, and just preparing it here. Okay. So the introduction is the news says the Real brokerage acquires REMAX LLC, and then there is no much information in terms of the amount. I mean, some articles they were talking about the details of the deals, some article not, and I have some information um, based on my research about the deal details. Okay, so let me start with a question. When I go through a question or Q&A, we will be answering the um all question, or we're putting the story or narrative together, because I would rather love to put it in Q&A rather than just say a statement. So the first question is, while the Remax brand will the Remax brand be replaced or absorbed by Real? Okay. Will the Remax brand will be replaced or absorbed by the Real brokerage? First of all, let's explain why this transaction happened. The reason why behind that is that Real the Real brokerage is publicly listed on Nasdaq um, since I think years. I'm not sure, 5 or 7 years, or 5 6 years. I don't know, but they have a market cap, a good market cap, around 500 million, more or less. I don't remember exactly number, but the their business model, which is very close to EXP and close to, of course, the idea came from Keller Williams back then. In their business model, which is a new concept, they have a technology involved, mean an in-house built technology platform. Uh, Both of them, they were missing the brand. The brand is very, very, very important in any business, in particular in our industry. So, so they were looking to brand themselves, and I believe both companies, Real and EXP, they were working very hard to brand. No matter how much money they have in their pocket, it takes time. So that's why they said, rather than spend time and money. Money is not a problem in today's market, especially when you're publicly listed in US. But the problem is the time. Time is a problem. So you need 50 years, probably more or less, REMAX spent to build this very, very, very strong brand. So the deal was all about Real wanted the brand. So why would Real replace its own brand with REMAX, where the REMAX is the brand? So I don't think it will be replaced, in my opinion. The second question is, what is the impact on REMAX franchisees and brokerages? What is the impact on REMAX agents? This is a very important question. So we are one of the franchisee. I moved to REMAX in 2023 by September, and the only reason I moved to REMAX was their brand, the marketing amount they spent on branding. Like, I can tell you the Canadian figures. I don't know much about the US, but in Canada, as we know, uh, whether 25 or this year is something around $30 million. So when I was interviewing different brands and I was asking them about this question, they were saying, "We are a brand. How comes you're a brand if you don't spend money?" Continuing spending money on the brand is very, very important. So what's the impact on the franchisee? First, in my opinion, let's put it this way: what REMAX was missing and why they got into these deals. I think REMAX was missing on the technology and was missing on a concept, in my opinion, a modern new concept, which everyone knows how Real, EXP, and others are operating, and the technology. So REMAX and other traditional brands like C21 and Roller Page and others, they were trying to build an in-house technology. Unfortunately, I'm not aware one of them built something really nice. Rather than they use third-party technology, which is a vendor providing the same service to all brands equal in the market, and that's not exclusive to them. So um, why the REMAX couldn't successfully develop a technology? The answer is very simple. It's a branding company. It's a marketing company. Let's put it this way: they don't have the expertise, or maybe they tried in the past and didn't work well. I'm very new with them, but I hear that it did not work well in the past. So yes, REMAX needed the technology. REMAX needed the modern new concept, and Real wanted the brand and the market share. So what's the impact on the agents? I don't think there is any impact negatively on the agents of REMAX. The reason why, because every agent will still carry REMAX brand, as I said before. On the top of that is the local brand for their own franchisee. So what they gain is a bigger network. So we're talking about 140, 50,000 with REMAX, and another 30, 35 by Real is going to add on, will be total of 180. So it's bigger market share. And the most important is the technology. Real has it. So I'm aware of a technology called Reason. I did not get into details, but I know it takes care of the transaction for the agents. It takes care of sort of accounting and invoicing. It takes care of partially CRM, which is the three main area the agents want the most. Now, when it comes to the consumer, I mean, REMAX is way ahead of the industry, and in particular, you compare it to Real for the brand recognition. So I don't think on the brand recognition part, the agents or the consumer or the clients of our agent will be impacted negatively or even positively. It's in there, and most of the consumer, they are not aware what is Real for, but they know what's REMAX for, right? So I'll move to the next question, which says, are there any direct or indirect benefits for agents from the transactions? Well, I think this question was answered previously. The biggest benefit, in my opinion, is the technology, which is going to be like coming into REMAX platform, and the concept. I'm not sure about the concept. I don't want to mix things up. They have a different concept than REMAX, and REMAX is a franchising business model. So let me put it this way. If we compare Tim Horton with Starbucks, I'm not talking about the quality of what they're selling, but one is a corporate model, which means all Starbucks belong to the corporate, and the other one is like Tim Horton is franchising business model, means each and every Tim Horton store is owned by a local owner and operator. So mixing up two concept is going to be very complicated. You might keep it as is, and this is what one of the way I think it could be, because it's really hard to. I think maybe one of a question later on I'll talk about that, but it's really hard to change the business model, the existing business model of REMAX. Now, the question number 4 said, is this a bailout scenario where Real is supporting REMAX due to cash constraints, debt, or losses? The answer is not. I'll tell you why. As a corporate banker, when you look at the financial of REMAX today, you see REMAX in profit, little profit, 8 million comparing to the size of the company, plus where Real for the last years and years since inception, they are in loss. I think out of which they still in loss with, I believe, to be accurate, 8.1 million. So they never have had a profit. But now, gaining REMAX market share, I think they will be in profit. And let me clarify one thing. So, or maybe this is another question. I think question number 6, I will get into that point. Let's go. So it's not a bailout. Bailout is when a company losing money, being in a debt, high debt, in a negative cash flow, the other company comes with cash infusion. This is a bailout, right? This is not a bailout whatsoever, because one is very profitable, strong brand, which is REMAX. The other one just get into merge or acquisition. I'll explain to you what kind of acquisition merge is this, what type of acquisition from a corporate banking point of view. So let's go to the next question. It says, from a former corporate banker's perspective, what is your overall take on this deal? Okay. My overall take, okay, let's leave this question number 5 to the end, but let me go to the 6, because at the end I want to put my conclusion and my overall take. So question number 6 is, why is the M&A happening, or merger and acquisition happening? What strategic benefits for REMAX and Real gain? Can you share similar transaction in the industry, and why this move is important? So I explained at the beginning. So what happened is Real approached REMAX and said, we want to do this acquisition. Both of the party, they find a mutual benefit, where Real benefits from REMAX strong brand and market share, when REMAX benefit from the Real technology and modern concept, and of course access to the cash, because Real seems more having more access to the cash, let's put it this way, with their relationship with the corporate banking in the market. So it is a strategic partnership for both. But what happened is there was no huge cash payout from here to the other side. So what happened is they formed a new company called Real REMAX, whatever holding, let's call it, or Real REMAX Group. This new company is where REMAX is going to have 41% of the shares, and Real will have 59% of the share. So that's why I call it the merge and acquisition, right? It's not just an acquisition. So, and what's the exchange? So both of the and there is a cash into this. Let me read out. So I think there is $60 to $80 million cash paid by Real to REMAX. It's not significant at all. And the rest is setting up a new company, 41, 51, 59 partnership basis. I don't want to get details of the shares and all of that, but this is how it happens. So if I go back to the question, is this important? I think I answered that before. It is very strategic. And myself, I would say from now, I'm supporting this. And I was looking for this, to be honest, in the past, because my observations since 3 years, joining REMAX, looking at the financial, and not just only REMAX, the market financial of other companies and what's happening, especially in the last 2 years, and the trend and the technology and everything is happening in the market. What happened, for example, Compass, acquiring the Anywhere Group, which is including C21, Better Home Gardens, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, I think, and one more. So that kind of acquisition, which was the biggest in the industry, still they're working on it with the security authorities in the US, as going to be the same story for Remax and Real. So that kind of acquisition ended up with 350 plus agents, which is significant market share. The same thing is going to be for Remax here. So this is very important and strategic move, in my opinion. And so let's industry example. So industry example, if you remember GM, General Motor, as an example, taking over other brands like Chevrolet and Chrysler, example. Did they change the brand? No, they kept the brand the same. They operating under GM Motor as a holding company, or maybe they have a holding company operating all under that. I'm not aware of that, but this is the best example I'll tell you. Now, further into that, I don't know if you own a General Motor, any General Motor or Chrysler or Chevrolet product. If you look at the parts inside, I would tell you maybe 90%, up to 100% the same. So what is different is the brand and the design. The brand and the design. So what's going to happen between Remax and Real? In my opinion, it's going to be the same concept, more or less. So you'll see a lot inside between Remax and Real, more into Remax parts, which is, let's say, the technology and system and software will be migrated from here to there, like a platform. Let's put it this way, which is the same example of the part of GM, Chevrolet, and Chrysler. And brand will stay the same. I don't think they're gonna because they bought the brand, they did all of things for the brand. I'm talking mainly about Remax as a brand. What's gonna happen to the Real as a brand? I don't want to underestimate their brand. I might give another example as a Toyota, where it has a Lexus, let's say, and Toyota as a company. Maybe they will make it an elite brand or something like that. But in my opinion, maybe down the road, even the Real brand will be kind of gone because it's very new. Nobody knows much about it. Remax is the one. So I don't want to say on behalf of the decision maker in the group, but this is the way I look at it. Now, let's move to the question number 7. Is this acquisition merge or combination of both? Is it merge or acquisition or combination of both? The Real brokerage buying Remax. I think I answered that. It's kind of combination of both. Technically, it's a merge and acquisition because there is an acquisition happened between Remax and Real. The merge and acquisition when they formed a new company, which is called, I think, Real Remax Group at 5941 partnership. So officially it's acquisition, but technically it's merge and acquisition. This is how I call it, right? And there is no bailout. That's very important. It's very strategic. There is no a lot of cash involved into this, and it's exchange of shares somehow, and forming a new company and having a partnership into that. So we go to the question, as a former corporate banker, what's my take? Okay. So my take, as I said briefly, I observed that. I was talking about that. Again, I'm a newcomer to the group. Maybe I don't have any voice, but I think somebody heard my voice. The Remax as a network needed a significant change, strategic change, because they could not, with the technology, they could not catch up with the technology, unfortunately. The reason might be they could not attract someone who's innovative, could be one reason. The second reason could be the current management, and we know the founder himself could not get into understanding with a different generation, and whether it failed or didn't work well. But when a company like Remax sees their market share is somebody stealing from their market share, let's say EXP or Real. And by the way, EXP is going down 20,000, and there is a new company called LTB came. sold most of the EXP's agent, and back and forth. This is happening, but they find out that they need kind of a strategic partnership. Let's put it this way, and with someone, I think Tamer, the founder of Real, is very modern, very into finance, very innovative. I don't think they can hire him, but they can get in a partnership with him. So that's why I think this happened. And my take is I support this, and it should have happened long time ago, but it's happening now, and it's a value added, and it's going to benefit everyone. Now, one more thing is about many, they are thinking about what's going to happen to the franchisee. Are they going to turn it to corporate? Let me give an example of this. If a new owner of a building comes and take over, and he has 10 or 100 or 1,000 tenants signing a contract already, there is a contract in place. Do you think the new owner can terminate all contracts? Unless there is a clause says a 60 days termination, I don't think so. So most of the franchisee, they have an agreement. We call it franchising agreement. It could be 5-10 years, depends how long, how old, and it's not easy to get rid of that unless otherwise they want to buy out those companies, and you need a lot of cash. Some, they might say, no, I'm not selling to the corporate if the corporates want to take that. It might be a model like Royal LePage. They have a corporate side and then they have a franchising side, but the way it's structured right now, I see it two separate company, a joint venture strategic, a lot of sharing. REMAX will benefit from the technology, from the modern concept. Real will benefit from the market share and the brand, giving that Real use REMAX brand in order to attract more agent and move on, because they are looking for market share, in my opinion. Another things before I to go, I want to talk about is I put a note here. So what's okay, there is something in the finance world. If you look at the many people, they say, how comes Real market share is, or market cap is 500 plus and REMAX at 300, 350? I don't remember last time what was that. How comes this company with more agent, more profit, has less market cap than the other one? Let me explain something to you in the capital market. The market cap doesn't represent the real operation of the company. It is a value of the company based on the investors. So most of the investors in today's market are looking companies, any companies associated with the technology, and they like to invest and bet on those companies, which is in this case Real, EXP, whatever. But a company like REMAX focusing on operation, they have very successful agent, the best agents, profitable so far. They had little loss in their history, few years, and they could recover. But at least with this market, they are doing a profit and expanding. However, the market cap is down because of that fact. So the second thing, the business model, because if you look at the revenue of Real and revenue of REMAX, there is huge difference and gap. That one is in $1 billion, and this one I think in millions. I'll tell you why. The business model of REMAX LLC or REMAX Holding is totally different than. So the franchising business model, they make money out of the brokerage percentage of the revenue, which is the commission in our industry. So which is a smaller, way smaller. It could be 5%, 10%, whatever it could be. Where Real as a brokerage, they look at the revenue, entire revenue coming to them as a revenue. So when you imagine the revenue of the brokerage is higher than the revenue of the franchisee, I mean, than the franchisor. So that's why you see the turnover or revenue is higher. So one is taking a percentage of the brokerage cut. The other one is taking the entire commission cut from their own agent because they're acting as a brokerage. So that's why you see different revenue, and based on the revenue, the market value, estimated market value for the investor comes into the picture. So I hope I covered everything here. I'm looking if I have any more notes. I don't want to make it more complicated. However, I wanted to say everyone is talking, rumors are there. And by the way, on an answer to the rumor previously said Keller Williams would like or approach Remax to acquire. I didn't think that's gonna happen. If it's true, the reason why, how comes a strong brand come when acquire another strong brand? So what's the game plan? Two strong brands together? I don't think so. So probably one brand want to take over the other one and bring it down forever, which was not the case with Remax. That's why, if that was true, it didn't work. But in this case, is like look at the Compass and C21 and Keller World Banker. I don't think they will kill those brands, and they're going to keep it. And that's the case with Remax and Real. Overall, nothing changed. Business as usual for Remax members, in my personal opinion. And that's my opinion. I'm very good at this. It's going to be very, very positive. Let's see how the implementation is going to be, how smooth the transaction is going to be. And remember one thing, it has to go through the security authorities in US to be approved. Such big transaction is not easy. So will be any change in the management, whether in Canada and US? I would say yes. When the merge and acquisition happen, always there's a change happens. Would be any change for the agents in terms of their commission and the structure and everything? I don't think so, because that's going to disturb the franchising business model. And yes, they might see change in terms of a new technology platform, a new training method of doing business. By the way, Real is very more engaged into the social media, engaged into the training, engaged into uh, learning mostly. But Remax agent is still doing way better than Real in the market, and that was the power of the brand. But now we got both the brand and the technology. Thanks for your listening. And if you have any questions, I'm watching the chat. I don't see anything so far. This is going to be recorded and it's going to be shared. I don't want to go above 30 minutes. And now I think within we are 30 minutes. And I will try to read out if there is still anyone is having any question, or if I missed any question. Um, I don't think so. So when you are asked in the market as an agent, um, this is a bailout, Remax is doing back, refer them to this video. When you try to answer all of these questions, the problem, if you don't have the knowledge of corporate banking, finance, franchise ownership, of operation, industry, compliance, you will give them whether no answer, wrong answer, partial answer. In all cases, they will try to let you down. They make you worry. Remember, I was projecting the market in term, not price, in term of transaction to go up. February to March was 30% up. Let's see, March to April is going to be 30 or plus percent up. And that is the most important thing for realtors in the market. We are at REMAX Success Realty, very innovative, hands-on training, out of the box, very engaged at my level, and I have opinion. I say my opinion. Now I take the full responsibility if it's correct or not correct, accurate. But I put the finance, banking, real estate, compliance knowledge behind it, and I come with my best of the best knowledge to share it with our agent and other agents in the industry. So, congratulations, and wish you all the success for your real estate transaction. Bye for now.